What if I told you that the biggest thing standing between you and the life you dream of is you? Sounds harsh, right? But it's true. For years, I believed I wasn't good enough. I let fear, doubt, and insecurity dictate my every decision. The truth is, I was my own worst enemy, caught in the cycle of self-sabotage. And I want to take you through that journey, the one that went from pain and self-doubt to a place of peace, self-love, and acceptance. I remember the day it hit me. I was sitting in my room, surrounded by the mess I had created in my life. It was late at night. The only sound was the ticking of the clock and the hum of the streetlights outside. I had just made another bad decision, another failed attempt at something I'd told myself I would do. I didn't even have the energy to feel frustrated anymore. I had become numb to it all. I thought I had no control. But then, in that moment of stillness, something strange happened. It wasn't a loud epiphany or a dramatic revelation. It wasn't some sudden burst of clarity. It was simply this feeling. What if I'm not the problem? What if all this time I've been looking in the wrong direction? What if the battle wasn't outside of me, but within me? It took me a while to accept it, but the truth was, I'd been sabotaging myself. I was so wrapped up in self-doubt and fear of failure that I couldn't even see the opportunities around me. I was in a constant battle with myself. Every time I tried to do something good, some inner voice told me I wasn't capable. Every time I made progress, I'd find a way to tear it down. I thought I didn't deserve to succeed, to be happy. I'd make excuses, hide from challenges, and retreat into my comfort zone. I wasn't always like this, though. I remember a time when I had big dreams, when the world felt full of possibility. But somewhere along the way, I started listening to the wrong voices. The voice of doubt, the voice of fear, the voice that told me I wasn't enough. It became louder than my own, and slowly, I stopped trusting myself. I became my own worst critic, convinced that I wasn't worthy of the things I wanted. I know many of you have felt this way too. We've all experienced moments where we're trapped in our own heads, unable to escape the cycle of negativity. But here's what I've come to understand. The more you beat yourself up, the more you reinforce that sense of unworthiness. You start to believe that you don't deserve anything better. You start to accept the pain as your reality. But here's the thing. It doesn't have to be this way. I didn't know it back then, but in that moment of quiet reflection, something inside me shifted. I didn't have all the answers, but I knew that if I didn't start loving myself, I would continue to live this life of self-destruction. I had to take responsibility for my own happiness. It wasn't easy, though. The first steps were small, almost laughably small. I remember looking at myself in the mirror and just saying, I am enough. I didn't believe it at first. I didn't even like the sound of it, but I kept saying it day after day. I started to let go of the things that no longer served me. Toxic relationships, negative habits, thoughts that held me back. Little by little, I began to reclaim the parts of me that I had lost along the way. I wish I could tell you there was some magical moment where everything changed, but there wasn't. The truth is, it was a slow and gradual process, but every small victory mattered. Every time I said no to a negative thought, every time I chose to take action instead of retreating, I was building the foundation for a new life. I was learning to trust myself again. I was learning to believe that I deserved better. The turning point came when I realized that self-love isn't about feeling perfect all the time. It's about accepting yourself, flaws and all. It's about giving yourself the grace to make mistakes, to fail, and to try again. It's about being kind to yourself, especially when the world feels harsh. And most importantly, it's about recognizing that you are worthy, just as you are, right now. In those quiet moments of self-reflection, I realized something profound. The only thing keeping me from living my best life was the story I was telling myself. I was telling myself I wasn't worthy of success, love, or happiness. And for a long time, I believed that story. But now, I was rewriting it. I was telling myself a new story, one where I was enough, where I was deserving of all the good things life had to offer. And that, right there, was the breakthrough I needed. I didn't need to be perfect. I didn't need to have it all figured out. All I needed was to show up for myself day after day and choose love over fear, acceptance over judgment, and action over inaction. The road to self-love is not a straight path. There are ups and downs, moments of doubt, and setbacks. But there's also something beautiful in the journey. Every time you choose to show up for yourself, every time you choose to love yourself, you become stronger. You become more resilient. And over time, you start to see yourself differently. You start to see your worth, your potential, and your capacity for growth. Now I can look at myself in the mirror and say, I am enough. I don't need anyone else's approval to feel good about who I am. I've learned that I don't have to be perfect to be worthy of love. I've learned that I am enough, flaws and all. And that, my friends, is the most liberating feeling in the world. I want to leave you with this. You don't have to wait until everything is perfect to start loving yourself. You don't have to fix everything first. The truth is, self-love isn't about waiting for the right moment. It's about choosing to love yourself right now, exactly as you are. It's about embracing your imperfections and giving yourself permission to be human. So if you're in that place right now, stuck in the cycle of self-sabotage, trapped by your own doubts and fears, know that it doesn't have to be this way. You can break free. You can start today. The journey may not be easy, but it's worth it. And I promise you, when you start to love yourself, everything else will begin to shift. Because the life you've been waiting for, it starts with you. It starts with how you see yourself, how you treat yourself, and how you choose to show up every single day. And that, my friend, is where true transformation begins.